Iran's not backing down. Their military spokesperson just warned Trump, if any hand of aggression is extended towards our leader, we will not only cut that hand, but set fire to their world. Iranian state TV even broadcast a chilling image of Trump from the Butler assassination attempt with a message in Persian. This time, the bullet won't miss, and the whole world is watching two nuclear-capable powers circle each other. Trump's made his position brutally clear. If Iran makes a move against him, and I quote, they're going to wipe them off the face of this earth. The guns of January are locked and loaded. The question isn't if tensions will explode, but when. And what happens next could reshape the entire Middle East for generations.
We did a lot. I did a lot of big things, all perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed. Somebody told me that, a military expert told me, sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed. I said, I know.
Greetings one and all. Super Mondays here in the Holy Land, in the holy city of Elon Moreh, Shechem, right next to my holy yeshiva. We are on the 22nd day of the month of Tevet, 5786. It's good to be back after a break there. As always, first a couple of shout outs. As always, thank you to the 24/7 team of Mike and the volunteers helping any Jew in need. They're out there to assist. Thank you very much. And as always, the great blog. If you have time, or if you don't have time, make time. Palm Tree of Deborah blog, one word. Check it out. Well worth one's time. Ditto, as always, this class is for the sake of heaven, to remove the divine presence from the exile, to wake up ourselves, to improve ourselves, even one little step in our days, with all the difficulties, with all the wars. One little step is one big step of yesteryear. Okay, next. The fall of Venezuela, 2.5 hours. That's all, folks. Amazing. There are amazing details when we open our eyes to see the message here. What's the message for us? Everything that happens, the Talmud tells us in Yevamot 63, everything that happens in the world is a message for the Jewish people. Well, look at the Venezuelan flag. There are 8 stars. That is amazing. The world that we live in is based on the number 7. There are 7 days of the week. Nature, the world, the natural world that we live in, the world that we're familiar with, is based on the number 7. Beyond that, Messianic times is 8. The number 8 is above the laws of nature, is above our natural world. 8 stars on that flag. Venezuela goes down. Also on their flag. There's a horse, check it out. There's a horse there. In Torah, a horse always represents haughtiness. Haughtiness. We know that in Egypt, the climax of the exodus of Egypt was not leaving Egypt. It was on the sea. And the verse that we read, we open the song of Moses and the Jewish people. We talk about how the drowning of the horses, that is the climax, the pinnacle of the exodus of Egypt. By Maduro's own haughtiness, he destroyed a beautiful country. They had it made in the shade with all its resources, gold, oil, of course, #1 in the world, and many other resources. Threw it all away in his haughtiness, with his little dancing. Amazingly also, if we look in chapter 14, the last chapter of Zechariah, amazingly, there it talks about the nations coming up and battling against the Jewish people in Jerusalem. But after it's finished and the Jewish people are victorious, there's an amazing verse at the end of chapter 14 that it will say, on the horse's neck there will be an ornament that will say, "Holy to God." Amazing. The horse that represents haughtiness of disbelief in God, in my own strength, my own knowledge, my own keenness, sharpness. That battle for Jerusalem, when the nations will come up against Jerusalem, the symbol, the icon will be that the Jewish people were victorious over the mighty horses of the nations, that they came to battle against us. And it will say, Kodesh LaHashem, holy to God. This is a sign of the end of days. Horse on the Venezuelan flag. Temple returned to the Jewish people with God's help. Some more eye-openers to the saga that took place in Venezuela. According to U.S. intelligence agencies, in the months leading up to the operation, U.S. intelligence agencies built a granular portrait of Maduro's daily life, tracking how he moved, where he lived, traveled, what he ate, what he wore, and even details about his pets. He had dogs and a cat. Now, where in the world, this is brought down, you could look it up on the net, you'll see it in many places. Like, why do they bring this detail of dogs and a cat that he had? This is not by chance. This is, again, okay, this is a messianic message over here. According to our sages in Perek Shirah, chapter 5, there are two versions to what the cat says when he praises God. And both of them are amazing, and both of them are connected to Venezuela, their fall, and how they fell, and our times, the amazing times that we're in right now. So, according to one version of what the cat sings, now, he doesn't sing The Cat's in the Cradle. That was a great song, but that's not the cat's song. You have to be a certain age to get that one. Anyways, says the following: the cat sings praises to God. What is that praise? Amazingly, it's a verse in the book of Obadiah. There's only one chapter, so we don't have to tell you which chapter it is in. In the 4th verse, this is what the cat sings. when he goes meow, 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 now you know what he's really saying all day long, all night long. Says the following, I read in English, "But even if you rise as high as an eagle, if you make your nest among the stars, I shall bring you down from there, declares the Lord." Folks, burn rubber, burn metal, burn rubber. Amazing. This is the cat. Maduro has a cat. The U.S. intelligence is tracking his dogs and his cat. Now there was once, I think in the 1970s, where America took a cat and did a surgery on the cat, and they put all kinds of listening devices into the cat, and they wanted to spy on the Russians in those days. But you know, there's two versions of the true story. One version is that the cat was run over by a car and the experiment went up in smoke. Or there's another version that the cat saw a mouse and ran after it and ran away. So, whatever. The second opinion of what a cat sings daily is a verse in Psalms chapter 18, verse 38. "I will chase my enemies and catch them. I will not return until I have destroyed them." That's amazing. That is amazing. The fall of Venezuela. And we see the axis of evil. We see they are on the brink of falling. On the brink of falling. This haughtiness. We didn't talk about dogs. Yes. Interesting, amazingly, can't make this up, dogs represent Esav, one of their icons, one of their symbols. This is brought down in many, many places, in different places, that they bring down this concept. This is brought down that in the Megaleh Amukot, in chapter 140, this is brought down in Breshit Rabbah, chapter 22, paragraph 12. Dogs. This is a certain evil. I know that they say dogs are man's best friends, but when it comes to the sign of Esav, when it comes, for example, when Cain killed his brother Abel, it said that God gave him a mark, a symbol. What was that mark? According to our sages, which I just mentioned, that was a dog. So Cain murders, and he receives a dog to protect Cain the murderer. Got that? So once again, when it comes to evil, many times we see that this is the power of Esav. This is the power of murder. This is the power of Cain, of the fourth exile. Now, last but not least, we see within all of this information, there might be the cherry on the cake. This might be hard for some of you to swallow. We're not here to make you feel good. We're trying to, as much as possible, hit the truth. The world is going crazy. As mentioned before, Trump, within 5 minutes, he threatens 6 countries. Trump is the all-powerful. He's Mr. Haughty. Amazing. Just to see him, just to listen to him, you could vomit. Trump's promise was to make America great again. And we see he's in a high gear now. He's in a high gear. He has his eyes out for many, many, many countries. Takeovers, control, war. He's too big to fail, too big to fall. Mr. Superpower. He dictates to the world what will be. His warnings always come true. You better be careful. Amazingly, Rabbi Dessler in Michtav Meliyahu, Volume 3, says the following. The characteristic trait of the fourth exile, the characteristic trait, there are many, is haughtiness, ga'ava. As generations, this is Rabbi Dessler here on page 216, volume 3. As the generations continue with the progression in technology, in the sciences, man's haughtiness continues to explode and grow. Man can do anything. There's nothing that humankind cannot do. As the days, as the generations progress, this is taking over the world. Our power, our knowledge, our keenness, our discoveries. Our Delta Force, our military, our technology. He's going for broke. Mr. Trump, he's going for broke here. He's in dangerous waters. In the amazing prophecy, we read one verse of Obadiah. Obadiah was a Jewish convert from Esav. Listen to his words. The arrogance of your heart deceived you. You who dwell in the cliffs, your lofty abode, saying, maybe it's Trump Towers, saying in your heart, who could bring me down to earth? But even if you rise as high as an eagle, if you make your nest among the stars, I shall bring you down from there, declares God. Whoa, if this is not talking about America, I don't know who the hell it's talking about. Every time the Torah tells us about Esav, about Seir, it always uses the expression, the mountain of Esav. The mountain of Seir. The mountain shows this haughtiness, loftiness, this strength, power, control. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says an amazing, why is Gog called Gog? Because it comes from the word Gog, the roof, protection. When you ask somebody, do you have a roof over your head? That means, are you protected? This fourth exile, their characteristic trait more than anything else is this haughtiness, is their control, is their all power, is their technology. We can do it all. No one can stand in our way. Amazingly, if we look at the national symbol of America since 1782, it is the eagle. 1782, over 200 years. Military strength, power. Amazingly, the King of Gods, the eagle symbolizes Jupiter, the King of Gods. They have turned themselves, transformed themselves from people. They are some type of gods. They have turned themselves into, not into human beings, but into super beings. Believe it or not, we're talking about our exile, the fourth exile, Christianity, America. But it was also, the eagle was also the symbol of Rome in the year 102 BCE. Many times in the Torah, the fourth exile is called the exile of Rome. Also amazingly, on the American flag there are stars, just like the prophet Obadiah said. He uses the eagle, the national symbol of America. The stars on the flag, the 50 stars on the American flag. Amazingly, originally, the original American flag had only 13 stars because there were 13 provinces on the East Coast in the original America, 13. That is amazing because the Torah commentary, Rashi, he tells us in bringing down Breshit Rabbah, chapter 63, paragraph 10. This is in the portion of Toldot. It says amazingly that at the age of 13, the twins, Esav and Jacob, part. They part. Amazing. The first flag of America had 13 stars. America, the continuation of Rome, the continuation of Esav, 13. Today, there are 50, which is also prophetic, 50 stars on that flag. The last one being added in 1960, if I'm not mistaken. Hawaii. 50. We know from our sources, for example, the Ramak, in his book, Sefer HaPardes, chapter 1, he writes that there are 50 levels of impurity. The Jewish people had to leave Egypt because they were on the 49th level of impurity after 210 years of being in Egypt and being slaves. So in order not to get into the 50th level of impurity, because there is no return from there for the Jewish people. Once upon a time, there were only 49 levels of impurity. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh tells us in a few places. But when the Torah was given 3,336 years ago, there became a 50th level of impurity. So that's amazing. When we look, of course, the Jewish people have much gratitude to America for many great things that they have done over the years for the Jewish people. With that said, and a true gratitude for what they had done, but look at what this country has become. Look at all the turmoil. Look at the violence. Look at the economy. Look at the social upheaval. Look into the decadence of what's happening in America. They're talking today about using funds from the government to support abortion in America. How many babies are murdered every single year by the Americans? Don't forget, we hear how evil Venezuela was. That is true. But that's not why America went out to take out Venezuela. That is not American policy because people are evil. America will not hit Iran because of the fact that they're murdering protesters. That's what they claim. Just like our sages tell us that Esav is likened to a chazir, to a pig. It has one kosher sign, and it always puts up its hooves in your face, on your screen, baby, and shows you, look how kosher I am. Oh, I'm attacking these countries out of morality. Baloney. There are American interests. We could have a few classes on what are their interests in the world, in South America or in the Middle East. And never forget it. If you want to make America great again, you are making the Jewish people, you are making the land of Israel out of business because it's a seesaw. Our sages tell us if Esav is up, then the Jewish people are down. If the Jewish people are up, then Esav, the fourth exile, they are down. It doesn't work on an even pedestal. So you decide out there, dear Jewish people, do you want to make America great again? Or would you like to make Eretz Yisrael, the Jewish people, great again? So don't be fooled by this morality that comes out of their mouth, but that's not in their thoughts and not in their hearts and in their actions. Amazingly, King Solomon tells us in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, pride precedes destruction. We have a principle in Torah. When God wants to have a nation fall, first he builds them up. They're on the top of the world. Might sound like a song. On the top of the world. All powerful. We have an expression in English. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Folks, I would venture to say we are seeing in front of our eyes a president, a leader who is out of control, who believes now that he could do anything he wants without any repercussions. What is his guarantee? What is his guarantee? How long is China? How long is Russia? And other countries, how long are they going to take this sitting down? I don't know how long it's going to last. But I'm sure they're losing their patience. Losing their patience. Remember these words, remember these lessons. Who knows, God forbid, with our smiles on our face, proud of America, Look what they did to Venezuela, and who knows who's next. But folks, what happens when they come to the Jewish people? What happens when they come to the land of Israel and start demanding? We see that Israel is becoming a much more religious country. We see that the birth rate, we see that the future is in the hands of the religious people. How is America going to deal with a religious Israel? How is America going to deal with no answers by Israel, by the Israeli government, on various demands? So let's wipe the smile off our face and let's look in the mirror. And let me give this good advice. I'll just touch on it. An amazing lesson. The control that Esav, the fourth exile, has over the Jewish people is because of tears that came out of Esav's eyes when he did not receive the blessing of his father, Isaac. This is brought down in our sages. This is brought down in the holy Zohar Kadosh. We are subjugated because of the fact that it hurt Esav not to receive the blessings of his father Isaac. But haven't we cried enough? Haven't the Jewish people over the millenniums, haven't we cried out enough? The tragedy, the pogroms, the crusades, the Holocaust, the October 7th, haven't we cried enough to eliminate the merit of the tears of Esav, the fourth exile? So one of the holy Hasidic Rabbis says that Rav Shmulik, Rav Nickel, he says an amazing thing. Yes, we've cried because of the tragedies and the pogroms and the murder of the Jewish people. But are crying for the desecration of God's name that is taking place every second of every day. That we have not succeeded in eliminating the merit of the tears of Esav not receiving the blessing of his father Isaac. We've cried for the loss of our loved ones, for our friends, for Jewish people, yes. For the destruction of our homes, yes. I bless myself, bless my family, bless all of you to feel the pain of the divine presence in exile, to feel the pain of the desecration of God's name. May we all be successful in eliminating the last merit of Esav, the fourth exile. Hello everyone. This is, as you see, it's a different picture here. This is an addition to the original class that you've been watching and learning from. This is an update. We are on the fourth day of the month of Shvat, 5786, in the holy city of Elon Moreh, in my house. I wanted to summarize a few points which I think are very important. So here we go. Whenever we use the word Persia, we are talking about Iran. We're talking about Ishmael/Islam. Now, the Persia was established almost 2,600 years ago in 550 BCE, in the time of Cyrus the Great. The name Persia was changed to Iran in the year 1935. So this Persia is close to 2,600 years old. Whenever we say Edom, we're talking about / the Western civilization, Christianity, / America today, who is really the leader of the Western world. This is all brought down in dozens of books. You could check out Maharal in Netzach Yisrael, chapter 21. Okay. Now, it's an amazing, exciting time that we live in. To think that thousands of years ago, the prophetic Torah taught us that the last two powers that would be standing would be America and Iran. That is amazing. Persia and Edom. Things like this you just cannot make up. We see this in front of our own eyes. It's happening. It could happen any second. This is brought in in Avodah Zarah, on page 2, side B. Who's the last one to stand? Now it's very important to understand this. First of all, it is clear that these two powers will be very, very close to the coming of the Messiah. And the last one to stand will be right on the cusp of the coming of Messiah, which is amazing. In Tractate Yoma, page 10, side A, there is opinion 1 that Rome will be the last one to stand, America. Opinion number 2 is that Persia, Iran will be the last ones to stand close to the time of Mashiach. We hear every minute possibilities of a gigantic war breaking out. America, Iran, Israel, America, Iran. That is amazing. Now, it seems like in the source that we just brought, there's a Breita that favors the opinion that Rome, America, will be the last one to fall. This is also brought down in Tosfot, Avodah Zarah, page 2, side B. It seems like Tosfot is giving his final word that it will be America, Edom, that will stand last. This is also the opinion of the book Kaftor V'Ferach in chapter 6. There's an amazing opinion by the Abarvanel in Jeremiah chapter 49. He brings down, also the Malbim brings down the same point in Ezekiel chapter 32. They both bring down this very interesting concept that in order that both empires, the Persian and also Edom, will be punished for what they have done throughout history, 1,000 years of history to the Jewish people, they both will be punished. So actually, both opinions are correct. Who will fall first? Both of them. That is an amazing take by the Barvanel and also the Malbim, that all the words of the Torah are of course true, and both of them will fall. They will fight it out, one against the other, and both of them will eventually fall. According to the Yalkut in Isaiah chapter 499, he leans to the opinion that Persia will be the last ones to stand. In fact, they will destroy a certain amount of the world. So once again, that is the second opinion in Yoma 10, page 10, side A, that we quoted, that Persia will be the last one to stand. When we look in Tractate Sanhedrin, page 98, side B, it seems like this supports the idea, the opinion that Edom, America, will be the last ones to stand, and they will either rule over the land of Israel or the entire world for 9 months. Now this, put on a seatbelt, because this is really amazing. If you do the math, where we know that something is going to happen big very soon, if you do the math of 9 months, it comes out miraculously to the month, the Jewish month of Tishrei, which is all the holidays, which is the new year. And if you look in the tractate of Rosh Hashanah, page 11, side A, if I'm not mistaken, there is an opinion by Rabbi Eliezer that the redemption will come to the Jewish people, to the world, in the month of Tishrei. This is a time where God judges the world, time of Rosh Hashanah, the time of Yom Kippur. That is amazing. That is, according to his opinion, that is when the redemption will come, exactly in 9 months from now. Do the math. You can't make this stuff up. Last but not least, we touched on this video. We touched on the point of America's arrogance, haughtiness. We run the world. An amazing Zohar Kadosh that I ran into. It is in Zohar Chadash, portion of Balak. Portion of Balak, by the way, speaks a lot about prophecies in the end of days. So this is very, very important. And it's on page 68. It says the following, I translate into English. In the end of days, the world will be in turmoil. No explanations needed here. Nations will be fighting against other nations, countries pitted against other countries. Listen to this. I mean, that first part is amazing. A figure who is not worthy, not suited to rule will take over and subjugate other nations. We see Trump threatening India, threatening Cuba, Colombia, Greenland, and the list goes on. This figure, listen to this, will not recognize the laws of the land. In his own words, his decisions are based on his morality. Not paragraphs of the law, but on his morality. May God help us. This will be a time of tremendous sorrow. Folks, you can't make up such a holy Zohar like we just heard. Trump is America, and America is Trump. We have in Tractate Erchim, page 17, side A, an amazing concept. A leader of the generation represents the generation, which means the spiritual level of the ruler of the president is the level of the community, of the nation. So they go in hand. If you want to understand how America looks, look at Trump. If you want to understand how Trump looks, look at America. Whoa. Now, this person, Trump, his haughtiness, his arrogance, his mannerism, his profane language, gutter behavior, sewer behavior. It's unbelievable. I can't believe, growing up, there was like a certain amount of respect, but this guy is walking in the Ford factory somewhere, and somebody yells at him, defending, trying to hide the Epstein files, yells something at him. The President of the United States flips the dude off and throws out the F-bomb. What in the world is going on here? This is a terrible state that America is in. If it was funny, if it was a joke, it would be funny, but it's not a joke. It's reality, the reality show. So we see that America, Trump, way overstepping their boundaries. They're getting in the face of Europe and many, many countries. There's only so long, Russia, China, that the nations will swallow and not respond, not hit back harshly at Trump and America. So this is a very important summary. Thank you for staying till the end. And it's very, very important. Myself, first, to make changes, small changes. Moses asks Pharaoh to leave for 3 days. Moses, what's going on with you, bro? We need to get out. 3 days? No. 3 days, it's a little amount of time, but it makes a difference. That is our times. Every small change that we could make, and to really concentrate on the pain of the Shekhinah, of the divine presence, the desecration of God's name, not on our sorrow, on our troubles, on our problems. Try to, as much as possible, we have to try to concentrate on the desecration of God's name and the removal of the divine presence from exile. Till next time, stay strong.